Right, Alison is just getting an important element of our collaboration. So Alison and I have been collaborating together for quite some time now, and this is the most recent piece we've been working on, and we were talking about this as really having developed during lockdown. So the mushrooms were growing out of the ground, and Alison was making them in her studio. Alison, do you want to say a little bit about the piece?
Yes, so this is just a very small section of a ring, a fairy ring, so it would probably, and I'm just going to hold it up again, just so you can sort of see, get a sense of these are real casts of mushrooms, and then I created the mycelial network. The whole sculpture is probably about this big. Wow. So, and fairy rings can grow in very large scales. There's lots of folklore around fairy rings, and I know there's that. I feel like it's a really lovely connection with Norway and Norway's relationship with the natural world and wonder, and the way we kind of interpret and have always interpreted the natural world and relationships with mortality.
Do you want to read your
Yeah,
piece?
I'll just, can I suggest that everyone close their eyes? There's something about the darkness in relationship to this piece of work. So it's called Field Magic Commune. In semi-darkness, a life-size fairy ring will pop up from the gallery floor. Golden toadstools appear to be levitating on an indeterminate circuit of mycelial threads. The centre of the ring is lit and makes a border. This is a zone between being, feeling, seeing, knowing and thinking. Fairy rings, which are also known as witches' rings and hag tracks, are a real phenomena of naturally occurring circles made up of mushrooms. The underground interconnected web of mycelium is good for life and also good for death, decaying matter. Children used to dare each other to jump and dance in the ring, knowing this might be the last reminder of where they disappeared underground for 7 years or forever.
You can open your eyes now if you want. And while Alison was making this piece, I was writing this poem, which is also a kind of entanglement. And there were two things inspiring this. One was obviously the growing fairy ring that Alison was making. And the other inspiration was John Cage, who some of you will know was an avid mushroom picker and knew every kind of variety of mushroom, and actually won an Italian quiz show based on his knowledge of mushrooms. This is a true fact. And Cage invented a form called the mastostic, and he would embed vertical phrases within the horizontal lines of the poem. So you can just see, here's a picture of Alison's fairy ring and my poem alongside it, so you can see the shape of the poem. And so this actually has the phrases that I've embedded in my poem are phrases from John Cage's writings. So this is Field Companions. Isolation. Only in caves and houses do we thrive, in fretting circles or bubbles. We feed on what we can forage, plants and slower creatures. Death arrives for those who can't adapt. We dine on mushrooms, pale flesh flaking on our lips, their nutty vigor nourishing our resolve. We will fight, someone shouts, raising a fist, but defeat is easier, bending into wind like a yew in a graveyard, its roots clutching bones. Into remembrance we dissolve for parasites and nervous violets, not an end, just another cycle. Music, and this begins with an epigraph from Cage. I have come to the conclusion that much can be learned about music by devoting oneself to the mushroom. Acoustic pad of the forest, place your ear to the ground to hear earth reverberating in the long decay before silence. Your upturned ear tunes to the tree's frequency, a gust conducting branch and leaf. This is how to listen, slow release from the chatter of world and mind, corrupting the air with the din of white noise. And this is the last section of the poem. Time. The present is a needle stuck on vinyl, ploughing the same groove again and again, a refrain caught in space. I cite the past, my silent pieces, ghosts diving at night, the musty spores of the forest, my legs white as stipes, quietly stretching in darkness. Nothing lasts but in the mind, and the mind can lose itself in brambles, in passive revolutions. Old songs occupy my ears, the final chord fades, but in my bones I hold its sound. Thank you.